national voice in defense of your Second Amendment rights. Gun Talk, available on iTunes and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for Android and iPhone. To be on the air with Tom, call us now, 866-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
All right, back with you. Our number is 866-TALK-GUN. Just dial Tom Talk Gun. That will get you in here. Heard live coast to coast around the world, actually. If you'd like to, if you miss a show, by all means, just go check it out. Of course, we put everything on iTunes, YouTube, our Facebook page, everywhere else. You can follow me on Twitter. I am at Gun Talk. Check out the Gun Talk Facebook page. And I'm also asking, if you would, please, go take a look at this video I put up last week of my hunt in Idaho. It's flying the backcountry, it's hunting, but more than that, it's figuring out why we're out there in the first place. And I would love to get your take on it. Just go to YouTube and look for Gun Talk, or you can just search for Idaho Passions, is what we call the video. And I would like to get your feedback on that. Appreciate that. We're talking today a good bit about the American culture and kind of it's almost a put-down culture these days, especially if you're a gun owner or if you're conservative. And it seems to be everywhere. It particularly comes out of the entertainment industry. And joining us right now is somebody who has been there, done that, knows exactly what I'm talking about. Kaya Jones was in the musical group, the Pussycat Dolls. Not there anymore. She was just at the SHOT Show. Kaya, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Obviously you just got back from the SHOT Show, as did I, and that is not exactly the entertainment industry there.
No, it is not, but it will be, I think. I think it's moving in a stronger direction of educating people what really it means to be pro-Second Amendment.
Well, one of the things you were talking about is, and you were obviously deeply immersed in the music business, the entertainment business, and you got a pretty good look at the culture there. What do you know that a lot of people don't know, or what do we need to know about that?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people do know, it's a very dirty industry. It has a lot of not really loving America ways about it. Definitely, I know a lot of conservatives in the industry that feel oppressed or feel that they can't openly share their political views, their pro-Second Amendment or the fact that they love God and country. So I think it's important. That's why, for me, it was important to start speaking out and, in hopes that we have more and more of us come forward, because there's an entire colony of us in Hollywood that do, support our military, support the Second Amendment, support our POTUS. But it's unfortunate that what the narrative is being driven is, of course, very anti all of those things.
What happens to someone in the entertainment business in Hollywood who does speak up and say, hey, I like guns, I believe in the Second Amendment, I believe...
Yeah.
What happens?
You don't get work. You don't get the jobs that you want. You kind of have to get to a place of saying, I don't care, and I'm just going to go for it. That's, for me, I had just had it with not being able to share who I really am, and every time I tried, being silenced. So for me, it was imperative that I just said, you know what, I'm letting go, I'm letting God, and I've got to speak up for myself, because there's more people in this country that need it. And they're the ones that matter. My fans are who matter, and the people that buy our movies, our music, our tickets to see our shows, that's who counts. And if you can't be honest to your followers and your following, I mean, who are you really talking to? You're faking a narrative. And so I just felt it was time. But yeah, I mean, you'll get slammed for it for sure.
It's interesting you say that. I remember Tom Selleck saying that he knows that he has missed out on a lot of work because he is outspoken about gun rights in America. Yes,
it's true. Yeah, it's very true. I mean, I think the conservative celebrities have always kind of lightly shared. They haven't been hard to the grind of it. Some have, and of course they've received flack for it. But I think it's time. I think we have a president that is speaking up and speaking out about how he feels. It empowered a lot of people. I mean, I'm one of the people affected by the abuse in the entertainment industry. I came forward. Of course, everyone's come forward with the Me Too stuff, but, you know, I think we need to give him credit for that, because why didn't more women come forward earlier? Why didn't more people feel compelled to speak out in a loud way? I think he's a big part of that. And so I think we'll see a lot more, hopefully soon, rather than later in the year. But I do have faith that we'll see a lot more.
Interesting you say that, because I was having a conversation with my wife earlier today about the abuses in Hollywood and how so many women didn't speak up because, of course, they'd said, hey, well, I'd lose my job. And yet others did. But now it's okay to do that. I'm wondering, is there a possibility of this, all of a sudden it's okay to speak up? It should always have been okay. We should be teaching our young, our daughters, our girls, never let anybody do this stuff to you. Speak up no matter what the cost is. You don't let somebody do that. But I'm wondering if it's possible for that to spill over. If we took, and we would have to take control of the narrative on this, but to say, you also don't get to shame us because of our core beliefs.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I think it is spilling over. I think, you know, when Donald Trump started talking about, you know, everything that every American, I think, has thought of, whether they agree with it or not is a different thought, but it's impossible to not say you're not aware of what's going on in our country and the issues that are, you know, affecting our country. I do think that, you know, a lot of women are silenced in Hollywood, kind of like, you know, conservative Americans that are pro-2A. They're silenced in a big way. And I started speaking out about abuse with the dolls in 2006, and I was told, you know, they're not interested. I mean, major press outlets said they didn't want to hear about it. They didn't want to hear what I had to say in 2009 and 2011. 2012, I spoke up again. 2013, I spoke up again. By the time now I've spoken up again, I didn't actually think anyone would listen, because I have been speaking about it for a long time. It's not new for me to explain what I went through and why I left. You know, a young 21-year-old girl doesn't walk away from a $13 million project if something really bad wasn't going on, you know, in your dream. And so I think it is spilling over not only politically. We're seeing that, you know, today with the NFL. I'm boycotting the NFL today. And a lot of Americans are. I think everyone's tired of being silenced, and they want to speak up and speak out. And so that's why I feel for the Second Amendment. You're correct. I think it will spill over. I think you'll see a lot more celebrities, Americans saying, it is my right as an American. It's not a libertarian thing or a Republican thing, a Democratic thing, a centrist. It is your Second Amendment right. Doesn't matter your party. And unfortunately, it's turned into this party-driven thing, and it's actually nothing to do with which party you sit in. It has to do with your rights as an American.
All right, I have a tool for you to use. I did not come up with this. I wish I had. Michelle, our brilliant call screener, just handed this to me. You know how in the entertainment business they talk about the blacklisting of people during World War II and during the McCarthy era and all of that, and how blacklisting was so horrible? She says, you know what this is? This is issues blacklisting. And so when you're talking to people in the entertainment business, they hate the whole concept of blacklisting. And if you turn it around on them and say, what you're doing is blacklisting people on the basis of issues and on the basis of their personal beliefs, so you are guilty of blacklisting. And I think that's something you can use.
Oh, 100%. I mean, blacklisting is very real. It's not it's not an unknown thing in our industry. It's very real. And you can see it with, you know, think of actors and actresses or singers or people that you've enjoyed, and then you don't see them anymore. You know, you really liked this young talent. She came up and was doing her thing, and then all of a sudden she stopped making movies. I mean, we saw it with Tippi Hedren, and I wasn't even born yet and aware of the abuse going, you know, that far back, and I can't even imagine how much further back it goes in Hollywood. I mean, Tippi Hedren left Hollywood to work with animals.
For those who don't know, Tippi Hedren was in the Hitchcock movie The Birds.
Yes, and you know, Alfred hit on her, and she declined to take the bait. And he said, "You'll never work in Hollywood again," and she didn't. She really didn't.
Wow.
So she, you know, walked away, and created her own world with working with animals and retreats and helping animals. I think she felt so bruised. And I mean, her daughter's super successful, Melanie Griffith, and of course, granddaughter is Dakota Johnson, who's now in 50 Shades of Grey. So this is a very, talented family. It's just a shame that no one was there for Tippy back then to speak up and help her.
Exactly. Well, look, I've got a scoot here, but tell people what you're doing now, Kaya.
I'm doing so many things. I'm focusing on supporting our POTUS. I was named director and ambassador of the National Diversity Coalition for President Trump. So I'm focused on that. More speaking engagements, of course. I'm working on a book and working on my new album, going to Nashville, recording with Jada Marcus from Rascal Flatts, Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, and focusing on 2A and, our First and Second Amendment. Keep pushing it so that more people can be proud. And I was proud to be named the #1 celebrity on LifeSet Pro-2A. So I love to shoot, and I'm going to keep doing that. So absolutely.
And for people who want to follow you, it's Kaya Jones, KAYA Jones.com, right?
Yeah, and you can get all my social media there. It's all at Kaya Jones.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Take care. All right. So there we go. The blacklisting continues. If you want to be pro-Second Amendment, if you're a conservative, you have to keep it quiet or you won't work in that business. Why isn't that blacklisted? Of course it is. Of course it is. A former member of the Pussycat Dolls letting us know what's going on there. Your take on that and what, if anything, we can do collectively or individually. 866-TALK-GUN or Tom Talk Gun.
Responsible owners control access to their firearms, even when they may need them in a hurry. Liberty Safe, the nation's leader in gun safes, offers 6 models of handgun vaults. Strong, simple to use, open with a key or fingerprint. Put your handgun in the compact vault, lock it away until you need it. Then it's in your hand almost instantly. Pick the Liberty Safe handgun vault that's right for you. LibertySafeHD.com.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
Brownells has gone retro. Check out Brownells' new line of retro AR-15 and AR-style 308 rifles at brownells.com/retro. Whether you're looking for Eugene Stoner's original 308 design, the famous M16A1, Air Force 601, or the XM177 carbine, Brownells has the classic, new production, old-school rifle of your dreams. Own the firearm you used in basic training, carried in service, or that Grandpa always talks about. See more at brownells.com/retro.
Welcome back to Gun Talk, 866-TALK-GUN. Pretty much open lines for you right now. If there's something you want to talk about, a gun you've been shooting or something you're thinking about buying or a rumor you heard, we'll see if we can chase it down for you. 866-TALK-GUN. Illinois. This is interesting because we think of Illinois as being anti-gun only because it tends to be, but maybe it's more Chicago. On Thursday, last Thursday, the Illinois Supreme Court unanimously ruled that a state prohibition on firearm possession within 1,000 feet of a public park violates the Second Amendment. What? There was the People versus Charez, C-H-A-I-R-E-Z, Charez. Charez pleaded guilty in 2013 to possessing a firearm within 1,000 feet of Virgil Gilman Trail, a public park in Aurora, Illinois. He later sought to void the conviction, arguing that the state's 1,000-foot exclusion zone around various public places essentially amounted to a ban on carrying firearms in public, a right that has been expressly recognized by Illinois High Court. Very interesting. That's pretty much the issue we've been fighting down here. We've got an entity that has a big trail, and they have no gun signs there. we quietly got that taken care of because we have preemption here. We had to educate and then re-educate and then re-educate them again. You can't give up. You can't get tired of it. And I just want to do public. Dan Zelenka, who's the president of the Louisiana Shooting Association, did yeoman's work making that happen, by the way. Yeah, you got to belong to your state group. If you don't know what your state group is, you need to find out. You got to belong. That's where the rubber meets the road in states. It's your state gun owners group. It may or may not be an affiliate of the NRA, and that's honestly not really important. The only thing that's important is it effective? Is it doing something? Is it actually working? Is something going on there? Switching to hardware, I keep getting questions about the SIG P365. I was at a clothing store a couple of days ago. As happens, we're salesmen, we start talking, and it takes about like 30 seconds before we get onto guns. And I said, well, are you familiar with the Glock 43? He says, yeah, my wife's got a Glock 43. I said, okay. Well, it's about the size of a Glock 43, but it's a 10 round in the magazine, so it's 10 plus 1. And it's a SIG, and it's got good sights, and it's got a good trigger, and so with the whole drill. I like the gun. But as you know, truth in advertising here, I'm kind of easy when it comes to new guns. I like a lot of them, okay? So just kind of where it is. Now, there are some I look at and go, yeah, it's fine, but not for me. This one, I can see, I could carry this one. I like a regular double stack, a 12 to 13 round, but I could do with a 10 round, 10 plus 1. So you had 11 in the gun. You can carry a 12 round magazine as your backup. So you got 23 rounds of 9mm in a small package. Yeah, I could do that. That would work for me. Hey, Mike's on line 3. He's out of Hot Springs, Arkansas. Hey, Mike, what's on your mind?
Two things, sir, if I may.
Yeah.
The very people in Hollywood that are complaining about the Second Amendment are making money hand over fist on horribly violent movies.
Yes.
And number two is the far left is always screaming and hollering about, what they don't like. Well, it's really nice in that interview that the young lady spoke out against what they think and what she believes. She spoke out for that, and that's all I got.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I was impressed. As she said, something's got to be really wrong when you walk away from a $13 million deal. And she was making huge money as a major star in the music industry. And I don't know what happened. She didn't offer. I didn't ask, but it had to be bad. So, yeah, I thank you for your call. Not gun-related, but I just got to throw this out. We have to teach our young girls from an early age, people don't get to touch you. People don't get to abuse you. People don't get to coerce you. I don't care what the job is, And here's the thing, and this is the most important part of the whole thing. You can't just tell them you don't have to put up with that or you shouldn't put up with that. You have to give them the tools. You have to give them the verbal tools. You don't just tell a kid, hey, if a fire breaks out, you need to get out of the house. You do fire drills in your home. You're going to come out of your bed. We're all going to go here. We're going to meet here. And then you do it over and over again. Oh, God, I sure hope you're doing that. You have to drill it with young girls, especially because, the predators are out there and there are more of them than I was ever aware. Not being part of that culture, I'm discovering very late in life how prevalent that is. You have to give them the verbal tools. What do you say? You can, they start off with, knock that off. We're not going to do that. Are you going to stop that now? Or if necessary, teach them to punch somebody in the nose or pick up the heaviest, most solid thing you can and hit them as hard as you can. Oh, that's violent. Oh, I hope so. I sincerely hope so. And then if they get up, we have now had an attitude adjustment. If they don't, call 911. Tell them you were attacked. But you have to give them the tools, not just tell them, don't do that or don't put up with that. You will say this. Here's how you do this. Here's how you move. Here's how you get this guy off of you. Here's what you do. And how do you make this happen? Yes, a knee to the crotch is Jim's throwing out there. Absolutely. And I am a huge, huge believer in all kids, but especially girls, getting physical training in martial arts. It leads to self-confidence. It leads to awareness. It leads to a posture that you can see. You can notice the difference. It just permeates everything they do when they know they can take care of themselves. And they also, as a result of that, know that they don't have to. When you have to, when you don't. You know, and the other thing is, people say, well, I have a right to feel safe. Well, you actually don't. But I understand. What you're saying is, I want to feel safe. Okay. If you want to feel safe, then the best way to do that is to be safe. Then have the tools, have the wherewithal. Whether it's martial arts training or it's a firearm with training or whatever it is, when you are safe, you will feel safe and you are doing something good for people when you do all of that. Just random thoughts I have from now and then. They just kind of pop out here. Let's see here. Brad and Ray, don't go anywhere. We're going to get to you. We don't have quite enough time to throw you into the mix right now because we're going to hit this hard break. But I'm going to get to you as soon as we come back. We do have room for more if you would like to join us, if you have a thought on this. Or maybe you've had some experience in teaching your children, particularly your girls, how to take care of themselves, how to fend for themselves, how to handle these real-world situations. It's not easy to tell somebody, hey, you got to walk away from a job, but that's what you got to do. Of course, you don't just walk away. You call BS on it. And you make sure that the S-train works both ways on this thing. I am not a go along and get along kind of guy when it comes to somebody doing physical assaults on anyone. So the idea of them doing it to young, impressionable, otherwise defenseless girls just drives me crazy. Wouldn't want to be doing that when I'm around. Trust me, that would not be a good thing. What do they say? You would not want to see me angry. We'll be right back.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
This is interesting. We keep hearing all these stories of bad laws in California and places, but, there's a lot of good things happening out there that you don't hear much about. New Hampshire Attorney General has offered an opinion that schools cannot prohibit firearms on school grounds. Under New Hampshire law, the only places lawfully possessed firearms are prohibited are courtrooms. The state legislature has reserved to itself the authority to regulate firearms, and all local regulations are preempted and should therefore be unenforceable. That's a good thing. Why shouldn't you be able to carry on school grounds? Bad guys are going to take their guns in there no matter what the laws are, no matter what the signs are. And time again, the only thing that stops a mass shooter is someone who shows up with a gun, either someone who's on the scene, or we can wait and wait and wait for someone wearing the proper clothing, i.e. a uniform, to come with a gun. Well, of course, what's happening while we're waiting is somebody's getting killed. Somebody's being shot. Why not have somebody on scene who can just put a stop to it all? Excellent. Well done, New Hampshire. All righty, let's go up to line 2. Brad's with us out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Brad, what's your deal?
Well, my deal is something that I mean, people are going to have to get together, and there's going to have to be a voice on it if anything's ever going to be done, which I don't have much hope for. I have problems with the law from some time back. It resulted in a felony conviction. Mm-hmm. Now, it wasn't a violent offense, and it wasn't gun-related. Now, but because of this, I've paid my debt to society and went through the court system and all that stuff, but I'm still, blackballed, if you will.
Yeah, for life.
Yeah, for life. And that affects my children. I come from a hunting, fishing background. I've been hunting all my life. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, despite what my record shows, I'm a law-abiding citizen. If I saw a policeman in trouble, I would do whatever I could to help them. It just doesn't seem right, you know. I cannot pass this on now to my kids.
I will tell you, it's not right. Way back before Charles Schumer stopped it, you could apply to the ATF and you could get your gun rights back. He stopped that by jerking the funding out of ATF's funding, the money out of it, to say that you can't use your money to process these applications. So on paper, there's still a procedure available, but in reality, they won't process them. And I'm thinking, maybe we could get somebody to whisper in Donald Trump's ear to say, hey, fix this thing, because there is a provision in the law where you can get your gun rights back. I personally don't think you should be stripped of your gun rights at all. As soon as you have, whatever, you paid your debt, you've served your time or probation or whatever it was, when it's over, it's over. The Senate should not come with an, here's a lifetime sentence where you are stripped of your Second Amendment rights forever.
It's almost like they're using it as an excuse to take your guns, huh?
Do you think? And that's all that Charles Schumer was doing. So I understand what you're saying. Now, I will also offer this. Some states have a provision where you can do that. You might want to look into Oklahoma. I don't know what the regs are there, but you might be able to get that done within the state, not going to the ATF. I don't know how that ends up working as far as the feds and the state. But I appreciate you bringing it up because it allows me to talk about it again, and it reminds me. I'm going to see if I can get a message to the right people. Maybe we can get something into Congress and get something done about this, because that is simply not right. You should be able to, have a path to get your Second Amendment, your constitutional rights back. Brad, thank you for your call. I appreciate that. Ray is on one out of Panama City, Florida. Ray, what are you looking at here? Hey, Ray, you there?
Another Ray.
I don't know if Ray's there. If he's listening on the radio, I don't know what's going on. Let's go down to line 3. John's with us out of Wichita, Kansas. Hey, John, you're on Gun Talk. Hello, line 3, John. You there? Everybody is just dropping out on us. I don't know what the deal is. We got. It's a coup. It's an effort out there. They're just trying to spoof us here, gaslight us, if you like the old movie. Let's see. Kansas rejects repeal of concealed carry on college campuses. This is another good news. In Topeka, Kansas, lawmakers have rejected an effort to repeal a law that allows people to carry concealed firearms in most facilities at public colleges and universities. So right now you can carry your concealed gun on college campuses and universities. And there was an appeal to lawmakers. There was a bill put in to undo that. And the Kansas House voted 53 to 69 against Democratic Representative Barbara Ballard's amendment. So said Ballard did this. She said, well, the law is making it difficult for higher education institutions in the state to attract new students to their campuses, to which I say, bull. I don't believe that in the slightest. All right, let's go back to John in Wichita, Kansas on 3. Hey, John, you're on Gun Talk.
Hi, Tom. I'm 60 years old. When I was growing up, my dad kept all the guns and ammo in his bedroom closet. Mm-hmm. When my son was growing up, times had changed where I kept them in the gun safe, and I would have no more touched my dad's guns, and I would have gone and got his car keys and went for a drive at 5 years old or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, and I understand it. I mean, I kind of grew up the same way where you don't touch them unless we're around. But I think I've said this, my concern is, well, two things. One is the kids do stuff. They're young, they're impressionable, they're stupid. We all have done stupid stuff, especially teenagers. And you think, oh, yeah, well, he's old enough, okay, yeah, maybe. But more than that, it's his friends. And also, look, he talks to his friends talk to other people. Oh, yeah, they've got guns over there, and they're not locked up, and all of a sudden your house is broken into and your guns are gone. So it's just a thought.
Yeah. All my friends went hunting, so I think their dads were the same way, and they had the same respect for guns I did.
And I think that's what we're talking about. We're talking about 2 or 3 generations removed when most people had guns and hunted with them, and none of your friends would think anything about it because they all have the same thing at their houses. They all have guns in their house, and some of them are loaded. But, let me throw this out. I'm going to throw out a big but. It's going to irritate some people. We had a higher numbers of accidental gunshot deaths of children then than we do now. I think we have learned a lot about keeping guns safely and keeping them away from kids. At the same time, have them available for self-defense. We can do both. 2 things can exist here. And I honestly think that we've been able to reduce, well, I know we have. We've reduced the accidental shooting deaths of children significantly since the time you and I were both young. So something's working for us, and maybe it's a case of we have learned that we need to be responsible about keeping our guns. I appreciate the call, sir. Thank you. Let's see. Line 2, Steve's with us out of Little Rock, Arkansas. Hey, Steve.
Hey, good day. I am calling in reference to the gentleman who had a problem with the law and lost his ability to be in possession of a weapon.
Okay.
And as I explained to your screener, that I went through that some years back. I'm a native of your state there in Louisiana, and I petitioned the governor's office. I don't remember where he said he was from, but after living a life of keeping my nose clean, I was given a full pardon.
Ooh, I didn't think of that.
Subsequently, as I told your screener, I'm in possession of a concealed carry. I have gone in the places that I needed background check, the whole schmear. Nothing comes up, no red flags, nothing. And that gentleman ought to pursue that with his, I guess, the governor's office, whatever state that he's in. And life goes on for me, my friend.
Steve, help me out here. When you get a pardon, it's as if it never happened. Is that right?
It is. She told me not to belabor this point, so you ask a question. I'm now going to answer.
Go for it.
I had a friend who went into prison, and I had to fill out an application to go and visit. And when I went to prison for this application, I put down that I'd never been in trouble. Well, I was refused entrance.
Okay.
And I called the prison system and said, hey, I put down what I was told to do. And the lady said, then you need to go back, resubmit with all the details you can, which I did, truthfully, as close to the dates and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And I resubmitted, and they contacted me back and said, all we want on you is the truth, and we don't think you were trying to hide the information. You were operating with the information you had. Subsequently, I got to go in and visit. Now, let's be real, Tom. Prisons aren't a place I care to spend any time.
I hear you.
Not even on the visitor side of the window.
Exactly. Well, look, I appreciate the call, sir. Yeah, the idea of going to the governor and getting a pardon, that's brilliant. If we could get the right governor, we could maybe make some waves to say, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pardon everybody who's a nonviolent offender so they can all get the gun rights back. Just blanket, boom, gone. Whew, get a lot of attention that way. 866-TALK-GUN, what do you think? That's not the same as expunging. A pardon, I think, somebody help me out here, I think it makes the whole thing go away as though it never happened in the first place, kind of like Serpro. 866-TALK-GUN.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Now you can own a brand new revolver with roots in the 1800s. The astounding North American Arms Ranger 2. A break-action 5-shot 22 Magnum mini revolver. Inspired by the Schofield Smith & Wesson of the 1870s, this 7-ounce Magnum revolver is fun to shoot and easy to carry every day. Historic style, high-tech, pocket precision. Check out the new Top Break Ranger 2 at NorthAmericanArms.com. NorthAmericanArms.com.
All right, let's go straight to the phones. Line 1, Steve is in Texas. Steve, kids and guns. What are we doing here?
Well, sir, I took some training before I decided to get my concealed handgun license. I'm glad I did it. And I got trained by a guy that was not Secret Service, Special Forces guy. Mm-hmm. And he opened up a company, and anyway, I went to him. Okay. And we discussed this about the safety around kids, and weapons. Mm-hmm. And I never thought about this till he brought it to light. He said, he's got little kids too. And he said, here's what you do. When you bring a weapon home, and he said, the kids are going to be curious about it. He said, kill the curiosity. He said, set them down at the table with them. And he said, break the weapon down right there at the family table. And he said, let them touch it. Let them ask questions. Let them see it. And he said, and explain to them what it is. And he said, secondly, after that, take them to the range and show them what it's about and show them gun safety. Mm-hmm. Now, I've got a 12-year-old son, a 10-year-old daughter, and an 8-year-old son. 6 years ago, I took this man's advice and have not had one issue at all. I mean, they no more look at that weapon that's in its holster, that's laying on my coffee table while I'm sitting in front of it, of course, or sitting in front of me, rather, than they do the candlestick that's sitting next to it. They know what it's about. They're not curious about it anymore and have not been. And every new weapon that I get, whether it's a rifle, a shotgun, or a handgun, we repeat the same thing. And then I take them to the range and show them what it's about.
I like all that, Steve, but here's my question. Do you leave a loaded gun in your house when you are away?
No, sir. Now, do not do that. I wouldn't do that. They stay locked up and they stay safe. But I do carry, and my Glock is always on my hip, even when I'm at home. And I do occasionally take it off and lay it next to me, and there's no thought or nothing about it.
I understand, but what we're talking about really is the whole idea of just leaving your loaded guns available so the kids, and just tell them, keep your hands off of them. And my position is I don't think that works. I don't think, historically, I don't think it works. I don't think it's smart. I don't think it's, I think some people are trying to be too clever by half by doing that. And, yes, I love the fact that you teach them about the guns, take them apart, take them out shooting, and let them know about it. Remove the mystique, remove the fear, remove the curiosity, but at the same time, remove the temptation. And that's the whole deal. That's why I'm saying secure them, get yourself a safe, do whatever you have to do, put a lock on a closet, remove the temptation. But here's the thing, the flip side of it, the downside, the possible consequences are so catastrophic as to be worth whatever you have to do on the front end to keep that from happening. It really is as simple as that. 866-TALK-GUN. Love to get your take on that. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk. Oh, yeah, I think there's a ball game or something. Who cares? I don't care. All right. Just got a note from Carrie. It says, Tom, your Idaho video is awesome. Great photos, and you have a great passion for the outdoors. It's the same as mine. Says, I listen to you every Sunday for years. For those who don't know, I just was asking, if you would do me a favor, go over to YouTube and look for the video we put up this week. It's kind of a pet project. We shot it with a GoPro, a little mirrorless camera, and 2 iPhones, believe it or not. And I think it turned out really well. I'm very happy with it. It's about why we hunt, what we're hunting for, kind of a discovery event, an adventure, if you will, on a mule deer hunt with lots of cool flying video. On YouTube, just look for Idaho Passions or go to the Gun Talk page or chapter or channel, if you will, on YouTube. Just look for Gun Talk Media there. And I would love to get your take. Just put comments on the video there so I know, what your thoughts are on that. If enough people like it, we'll do some more like that. Simple as that. Had some interesting guests today. One former member of the Pussycat Dolls, Kaya Jones. She had an interesting line she threw out in the middle. She said, well, she basically walked away from a very lucrative entertainment deal, I think probably from sexual assault, sexual harassment, but also the fact that she couldn't talk about being a conservative, couldn't talk about being a Second Amendment person. And she says, if you can't talk about what you really are, and this was her line, she says, you're faking a narrative. Now, that's an interesting thought, faking a narrative. And, we talked about the idea that this is blacklisting. It's not the old McCarthy era blacklisting, but it is the same. It's just blacklisting on the basis of your thoughts, your beliefs, your culture. And that's what the entertainment business fought against. Excuse me, let me choke down some water here. Oh, goodness. So what do we do? What do you do? What do I do? Pardon me, got a cough there I can't get rid of. Well, we go back to the True Squad and never letting a lie go unchallenged. We're going to fight this through. Again, I apologize. When you see something that's wrong on a movie, share it with your friends and don't go to it. When you hear something on the local TV channel, speak up, call them, write them. Go on. Online comments are huge. It's a big deal. So I would suggest that we all just stand up, and we're not going to take this anymore. We're going to fight this every way we can. Again, excuse me a sec. All right. We're going to fight our way through this. We're getting over this thing. I swear the SHOT Show crud is a real deal. If you talk to anybody who's ever been to SHOT Show, they'll tell you it hangs on for weeks afterwards. And we're only 1 week out at this point. So I'm recovering, but I'm not there yet. The idea is pretty simple. We're the good guys. We're the good gals. We're doing it right. We're honest. We're responsible. We're safe. We own guns responsibly. But that's not enough. And that's not enough. You got to say so. You got to get attention for that. We need to hold charity events, shoots, raising money for cancer victims or whomever it is. But remember my old definition of public relations. It's doing good and getting credit for it. It's not enough to do good. You have to get credit for it. And to do that, you have to tie into the media. Once we start doing that, we change how we are viewed. And when we change how we are viewed, they cannot demonize us anymore. When they can't demonize us, they can't marginalize us. And when they can't marginalize us, we win. It really is about changing public perception. We do that one person at a time, one day at a time, one phone call, one email, one comment online. And remember, people are always watching. They're always listening. Conduct yourself as though they are, because you are an ambassador for the shooting sports and for responsible gun ownership. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Get more training. Be safe out there and watch that muzzle.